Hello, hello, happy Sunday, guys. Oh my goodness, the second Sunday in January. Before you know it, we're going to be wishing each other a Merry Christmas again, right? Or Happy New Year. Happy New Year if I have not seen you since the end of last year. And just make sure I have my volume off on my computer here. All right. No problem, Christina. I know those Facebook computer gremlins, right? Don't like for things to go smoothly. Just so you know, I saw a couple questions. This is recorded. Well, it's live, but it will be recorded and it will be available here on my page and then also my YouTube channel, hopefully by tomorrow. I have some other things to get loaded on YouTube, hopefully today. Hello, Letitia. I'm looking there. I actually need to look down here. I have my iPad set up down here, so hopefully I can pull up comments, see them a little bit closer. There we go. Oh, hi, Susan. Yes, you know, I have to do that intro thing, and what's funny is I don't start it until 2:58 or about 2 minutes before I'm going to start whatever live. But it always seems like it takes forever because there's such a delay. So I feel like it seems like 10 minutes sometimes with that little intro. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Terry. Hi, Ann. So I think it's fabulous to have painting session from home. I turn on my iPad and here's Sandy face to face. I agree. And all of you have a front row seat, right? So let's look at the positives. Not in person, but you've been a lifesaver. Thank you, Molly Ann. Thank you. I read that and I say, thank you, but I have to thank you guys too, because it's definitely been that for me. I'm not going to get emotional, but it blesses me more than you guys know. So I've always been a giver. I've always been one that loves to share, whether you're a teacher, an educator, a painter, a newbie, somebody that's been in the industry a long time. I always, try to have that service, that servant's heart. But I have to say that I am so blessed and so just humbled and honored that you guys tune in and that you want to create with me. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So thank yourselves. Pat yourselves on the back for being here and for watching and for supporting artists. Because I have to tell you, for those of us that travel teach, it's been a little hard. It's been difficult to, pivot. But we did, and we've pivoted online, and it's nice to see that so many of you guys have embraced it, and you're here, and you show up, which is huge. Hello, Marichu. So good to see you on. Thank you, Susan. I appreciate that. So let's see. I'm from upstate New York. My first online class with you. Well, hello, Kelly, and welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to be in Buffalo, New York this summer. So if you're anywhere close to that, would love to have you come paint with us. Fantastic. One of my favorite chapters. I'm pretty partial to the chapters I've been to, just because I have a personal relationship with a lot of them. But anyway, I'm going to be back in Buffalo, New York, and I hope to make it over the border back to Canada. The only time I've been, those ladies treated me like, family, and it was nice. So live in a very rural area where in-person is never available. Can totally relate, Beth. So, Lynn from Delaware. Hello. I don't know if I've said it before, but I have family in Delaware. Hello, Sabrina. Oh, my goodness. Love your work. Thank you for being here. Hello from Oregon. Hello, Kathy Pruitt. I was just saying I'm going to be there this year. I cannot wait. And Chris Stones from Australia. So glad that you're here. All right. Well, it is 3:12. I'm going to give about 3 more minutes for people to get on, and then we're going to get started because I have a lot to share with y'all other than the lesson. We've got giveaways today. I went through my stash. I've been working on my end-of-year paperwork and inventory, which I have to tell you, is not the fun part of my business. This is the fun part of my business, where I get to chat and talk and teach. Hello, Claudette. Hello, Annabella. What a beautiful name. Ella, let me see if I can say it. Annabella Felizardo. Did I say that or did I butcher it? Sorry if I did. Hello, Bunny. In Georgia. Hello, Georgie and Deb. So I've been working on end of year paperwork and doing my inventory and things like that. And so I just pulled a couple things. I'm not going to tell the boss. I'll smack her hand later. No, actually my husband does my books. So I just have to put on there like pulled this. Do I remember to do that? No. So I pulled some goodies today. We have some giveaways. All you have to do is like this post, share it with your friends, comment. You'll be entered for all. I will do a drawing on Wednesday of this week. I'll put all the names into random generator. Being a one-woman show here, it's a little difficult to do that as we're painting and talking, and for me to be able to see everybody that's joined. So I will take between now and Wednesday morning to put and input all the names, whether you've liked, commented, or shared, and I will post on my page who the winners are, and we've got some fabulous prizes, all right? So, hi, Sherry. I have got a hair on my face here. Let's see. Got my pattern. Oh, Shirley, thank you. So glad to hear that. Yes, sometimes. So let me just say, because this is my platform and I can let you guys know, 2 things about my website. So my website host sold to Vistaprint. Now, I love Vistaprint products. I was just kind of hoping their website service would be a little better. So when you order an e-packet from me, I physically email it to you. Either through your email, I respond to the email that comes through that you bought it, or I send it, and once I do that, I either attach it to the email or I send it on a service called WeTransfer. Now, WeTransfer is a free service. You have 7 days to download the file. So if you're unsure about how to download it, or you're thinking an automatic download is going to be right there when you purchase it, that's just not, unfortunately, it's not the way my website is set up. Am I hoping to get it set up like that this year? Yes. So you are so happy, and we're, oh, hi, Lynn. I am. I'm super happy. I am, yeah, this year has started off. I've broken every resolution I put forth. Have I eaten? Have I eaten the way I wanted to? No. Have I exercised every day like I wanted to? No. But have I painted? Yes. Had my first lesson with my membership group, which I have some really exciting things to share with you guys next Sunday. But so I feel blessed. So that's why I'm happy. It's 3:19, 4 minutes past when I said I was gonna start. So let's just move this down here and get busy with what we're gonna do today, all right? So the piece we're doing today is my Winter Wonderland. The last lesson I did on my page here was in December, and we did the evergreen trees. So if you joined me for that, so many of y'all have shared your pictures and your paintings of your trees with me, and thank you so much for that. I thought that was a great lesson, and I thought, what a great way to kick off the new year, but to piggyback off of that lesson. So if you missed it, it is the last lesson on my group here, or my page here in December, and you can go back and see how I paint in depth, how I paint my evergreen trees. All right, because you can only have such so much time on a Facebook Live to share and show, and so to not be cut off, I'm not going to go as in depth on the evergreen trees as I did in that live lesson that I did in December. All right. So before we get started, let's talk about our giveaways. All right. So let's. Ooh, I almost knocked them right off. So. The first giveaway, and all you have to do to enter the giveaway is to like, comment, share. That's all you need to do. And if you want to go over to my YouTube channel and subscribe, I would love that. Just let me know in the comments and you'll be entered again. All right, so I have a stamp line. I just marked all these down on my website, but so one person will go into... oh my goodness, Madeline, I'll explain that in a minute. We'll go into it. So all 4 stamps to one lucky winner. All right. My nails, Madeline just said your nails look great. They're press-on nails, so if any of them pop off, oh well, can't do anything about it. But I have not been able to make it to my guy, and then my guy was sick. So, okay, so the next giveaway is for I love, love, love this stamp. So this is a Stampendous Snow Swirls. I am out of stock on this stamp, except this one that I pulled for a giveaway for January. But love this stamp, and if you're looking for some Stampenda stamps, I have them on my website, but you can also check out paintingwithdeb.ca. She probably has this stamp on her website along with other Stampenda stamps, and especially the new ones. So she does a lot of designing and creating with Stampendas, and they just make amazing, phenomenal stamps. So check out Deb's site. And again, I also sell the Stampenda stamps, but she has a bigger selection than I do. So, and her shipping is so reasonable, especially coming from Canada. She ships pretty quick as well. So check that out. Okay, so one winner will get the stamp. And then I also have a stencil line with Tracy Moreau. And so it is called M Square. So I carry these on my website. So does Tracy Moreau. The M Square is Moreau McTier. And you can find the M Square stencils on both of our websites. So for the second winner drawn, we'll get this stamp and 2 stencils. All right. And then the final is a set. Now this set retails, well, prices just went up. So I'm going to say that these retail for about $55. They're the Mezzaluna brush set, extra large down to small. Love, love, love. So they are my go-to brush for dry brushing, and I'm going to show you how I use them today on this project. All right, so I think I used the large and the small on today's project. So the third winner will get those. And again, I'll post the winners on Wednesday here on my page so that you guys know. All right. So let's go ahead and get out some paper towels because what we're about to do is a little messy. Let me zoom out just a little. Like I said, I love those brushes too. Hello, Marty. Oh, I think so too, Carol. Great, great, great prizes. So dry brushing is my favorite thing. I love to dry brush. Okay, so let's talk about our piece again. So this surface I got from Chris Hoy at CD Wood. All right, love their surfaces. So in the e-packet, if you ordered the e-packet or you have the packet from a show, it has the number, I think it's Twinkle Stars stencil from Creative Arts Lifestyle, and the surface is from CD Wood. So the stencil is from here, and there's the number. So if you're looking for the stencil, now can you see much of the stencil? No, it's the tiny little stars and the big star there. So you can order those from them. And again, all that information is in the e-packet. So love this surface. It is kind of that pressed MDF wood. So you want to seal this first. So I seal mine with Decoart multi-purpose sealer. All right, because you're going to see in a second, I'm going to start adding some liquid to this wood, and I do not want it to swell. So the multi-purpose sealer is going to help keep it a little sealed and not take on the liquid that we're going to do water and paint. All right, so always recommend just a light little application of that, and if you feel the wood grain or the MDF come up a bit, just give it a nice little light sanding and give it another coat. All right, so I'm going to set this aside, but I need to see it. So I'm put it there. I went ahead and prepped this piece. I was doing some sample things on the side, and this I'm like running out of surfaces. I've got to get some surfaces, but this was painted black. All I did was I gave it a coat of the multi-purpose sealer. Hello, Carrie. Oh, some say not to seal MDF. I usually do too. I know, I've read that too, Linda, but better safe than sorry, you know. I just give a light coat. You can also do a matte spray. Let's see if I have it. Let me see if I have it down here. I have to move my chair because you can also use the Let's see, that is gloss. I do not want that. But you can use the Decoart Americana matte spray. And again, it just kind of preps your surface, gets it ready. It's not going to repel your paint. So I used a layer of that, even on top of the black that I had on there. And then I gave it one coat of gesso. So I carry this. This is my favorite gesso. Amazing. Just watered it down so that it brushes out smoothly right over the surface. And then I used a couple of products that you might not be familiar with, but I'm going to share and show how I use them. Does gesso work as a sealer on MDF? Yvonne, you probably could say it does. Gesso is a primer, but just to be on the safe side, I just give it a quick coat of this. I just don't think you can go wrong with it. But if you don't have that, then by all means, use the gesso, okay? Oh, thank you, Beth, for subscribing on YouTube. I appreciate that. I have tons of lessons over there as well. So we're going to get started. Again, y'all, welcome to Sundays in the Studio with Sandy. I'm so glad that y'all are here. I'm not going to look at the comments for a minute because I want to get started, but I promise I will go back and answer any questions you have. One woman show here, so it's hard to paint, share, show, and look at the comments, all right? So I'm going to use the Decoart Media Misters. Now, if you don't have this, you can use, there are several colors. I would say this is probably the closest. Berry Cobbler. I don't know why I put dragon fruit on the e-packet. It's a little on the bright side, but you can use wild berry. I would recommend Berry Cobbler. So if you don't have the mister, the difference is this is a very fluid, transparent acrylic paint that can be spritzed. This has solids and binders in it that makes it a totally different paint than this, okay? But you can use it the same way. And when I taught my Zoom classes, people just adapted and used what they had. So you just want to use more water, okay? You'll just want to thin this down and use more water when I show you how I use these. All right, and then the second is my favorite, which is the Shimmer Mr. Turquoise. And I use this so much, I typically just put it in a small little spritzer bottle. You can get these glass spritzer bottles on Amazon for like $13 for 24 of them. It's just a little bit more manageable for me to hold in my hand. So this has gesso on it, completely dry. Then I'm gonna spritz it with a water bottle, but first, they are hard to find, right, Linda? So I don't have them added yet, but if you're looking for the misters, you could probably find some there at cdwood.com. I'm going to cover my iPad here. I don't want paint on. Okay, so if you're looking for the Decoart Media products, I carry the fluid acrylics. That's what I'm using today. But I also gave substitutions. I will give you guys substitution names while we're working today. But the misters, you can find those at cdwood.com. And also, let's find her here, my friend Maureen Baker. She also carries Decoart paint, Dynasty brushes, and more. Let me just do a little shameful plug for all my friends here. So, Jilly Bean, you can find Dynasty brushes and more as well. Let's see here, my friend Sheila Landry that has amazing products, patterns, designs, and surfaces. So let's take that off. My good friend Lana Lamb as well. Great designs, packets, and I don't want to leave anybody out because they're all, but these are just ones I have plugged in here already because of previous lessons. Of course, y'all know Tracy Moreau has great designs, lessons, stencils, brushes. She doesn't sell paint. She's got Stampenda stamps and so much more. So y'all go check out and support those artists, all right? It allows us to continue to do what we love to do. So, all right, so the misters. I'm going to show you how I use them on this piece. I have a little spritzer bottle with water. And I'm just gonna spritz it. Now you notice I laid some paper towel down because this is a messy job. And I don't mind getting my hands dirty with paint. They're very clean right now compared to how they normally are. But where did my, let's see. So I'm gonna spritz, I spritzed with water just to get it prepped and ready. And then I'm gonna spritz with that turquoise mister. All right. And then I'm gonna take a 3/4 flat brush. And I just kind of want to spread this out a little here and there. We're also going to lift it up and move it. Okay, pretty intense color, right? The thing is, it's permanent. So once it dries, unlike some other misters, they reactivate when you put something on top. These are permanent. They do not move when they are dry, all right? And then a little bit of this primary magenta, which I loved when they mix together. They make that really pretty purple color. Okay, then I'm going to pick my little water mister thing up here. And I'm just going to spritz it with some water. I feel like I need a little bit more there. Ooh, that came out fast. Okay, and then I'm going to tip it up and let this drip and blend and connect. A little bit more water. See why I said seal it? And on a piece like this, I would even seal the side because I don't want that wood to swell or that MDF to swell or start to lift the grain. So you can just move it around and look at those gorgeous colors. Love, love, love that purple. Now, the thing with doing this type of technique for the background, every single time you do it, it's going to be different. So let me just show you. I found one of my pieces that I did in the Zoom class. So this was one that I painted, and this was my original, but pretty similar, right? Because similar techniques, you've got the coloring in there. And so, but again, because it's not put this color here, put this color here, this has a mind of its own. It's going to blend differently each time you do it. Let's put that one back there. All right, so I'm just going to keep turning and lifting this up. If it's too dark, more water is going to thin it out. And then just let it kind of sit. Okay. And then I'm going to show you how we'll tone it down. But I do want to turn it over. I know. Well, that has something on it. I can't do that one. Let's see about the other one. Well, I could do that. Let's just go to this one and I'll show you the edge. So if I'm putting regular acrylic paint, of course it would have a layer of gesso, right? And then I would take a very wet brush and just push that paint out. See? And then spritz it with water and mix it. So if you're using regular acrylics, for the blue, you could use Peacock Teal. You could use Laguna. But I have to say there really isn't a great substitution for this amazing product. It's one of my favorites. So if you find it, grab it. All right? So again, you can do the background the same exact way with regular acrylics. You're just going to get, it's a little different because they're not as fluid. Thank you, Jessica. So glad you're here. All right, so hello, Isabel from Colombia. It almost looks like a planet Earth, right? And how cool. I mean, you could sit there and do the same technique and spritz in some white and make those galaxy paintings that are super cool. Okay, so what I would do from here is I would continue to let it flow from side to side. And then once I'm happy with the way it's looking, and I'll tell you why, like I wouldn't want all those drips going one way. So to thin it out, to get it to blend, you can do a little bit more water. All right, and I'm going to move this to the side. Oh, and my iPad's covered in paint. So I've got to, did not think about where I was going to put that. So let's just put it there. Now what I'm going to do And I love these. I don't know if y'all know, but I love these silicone baking mats from Amazon. If you put in extra large silicone baking mat, one thing I am going to get up and running is my affiliate link on Amazon, because I probably have sold 150 of these. But it's just a baking mat, and super thin, but wipes up easily. So, all right. So what I did this one earlier just to save time. Okay, but even that's pretty, right, guys? Now, what happened over here, I'll explain it. Too much water sat there, and as I was drying, then I lifted it up and moved it, and the paint shifted, and it kind of left some space, but I have to tell you, I love it, so I left it. That's my #1 rule in painting. If you love it, leave it. If you don't, there's always a way to fix it. Alrighty, so hello, Donna Collins. So good to see you on today. And Janice from Kingsport, Tennessee. Do you guys have snow? I'm a Memphis girl. I'm from Millington, Tennessee, actually. Okay, so we're going to go back to the gesso. So again, prepped with gesso, paint. Now we're going to take that gesso and I'm going to put it out on my palette. And I'm just using some gray palette paper. I'm going to put that on my palette like that with a palette knife. Really don't want to stick your wet brush into the gesso. And always a good idea, let's get a paper or a baby wipe. Always a good idea to wipe that off so you get all those little crusty bits off before closing it. Hello, Susan, my neighbor. So good to see you on. Would make pretty earrings. Could you do this on camp? Absolutely, Linda. Great idea. Yes, you could definitely do this on watercolor paper and on canvas, like canvas pad paper. Cut it, die cut it, put it into earrings. That'd be super pretty. Okay, so there are a lot of different gessos. Like I said, this is my favorite gesso. I do carry it on my website. I love how thick it is. I'm going to use a bigger brush. You can use a 3/4. But I love these flat wash brushes from Dynasty. It's very wet. My brush is very wet. And I'm going to pick up the gesso. Did you just go, did I hear you just like suck in that breath? Like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? Gesso is a good knocker downer, if there's no other better word for it. So if you want to lighten the color that you've done, gesso is going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to take a paper towel. I brushed it on. I'm going to wipe it off. But do you see how that color stays? And it just took it down several notches, right? So it's not so vibrant. Let's go ahead and wipe up the mat here. So if you've done a background and you're like, ooh, that's just way too bright, do a wash of gesso on it. We'll just tone it down, settles those colors. Another thing I did on this packet was you can use a brayer. So I'm trying to find my small one. I carry these little mini brayers. Love these. If you have them, did you know that you can take it off and wash it, which I obviously need to do. And hand sanitizer works great to get the paint off of those. But you can also take the gesso, you know, and do it that way and give yourself some texture if you wanted to. So I just wanted this nice and thin, and I didn't want to cover too much. All right. So again, I will, and that just adds that texture, that look of snow. Okay, and don't be afraid to use your hands, just kind of move it in. So with a brush, with a brayer, doesn't matter. Again, the brayer is going to give you that added texture, and all of it's just going to soften and settle and tone these colors down. All right. Dawn, I'm not sure about what size my mat is. I want to say it's like a 29 by 17 or something like that. I put in extra large. Thank you, Jessica. And I appreciate that. And it it's just, I have it on every workstation. Love the way it cleans up. All right, let's move this gesso out of the way. And on my palette, I'm going to get a little bit of white. So again, I'm using the Media Fluid acrylics for this piece, but you can also use Americana, Folk Art, whatever it is that you use. I love, cannot say enough about these paints. Love them. They are my favorite. So we're going to put out a little bit of white. And I'm going to come to my large. Is that a large? That's an extra large. It's probably, yep, that's all I have over here. So I'm going to use this. Wait, there's, okay, we'll use this one. So these Mezzaluna brushes have a blend of bristles on them. And didn't know I could take the, right, Janet? I know, it's amazing. And again, I just take mine off when I clean them, put hand sanitizer all over it, rub it off, wash it. You always want to make sure you rinse it and wash it off with a little bit of soap and water and let it dry. And then these little feet, let it rest so that the Brayer's not touching your surface, okay? All right, so I'm gonna use this Mezzaluna brush, like a dry brush, but I'm gonna use it for clouds. So I'm gonna wipe my hands here because I'm feeling extremely dirty. I love getting paint on me though. It means I'm having fun. Okay, so I'm going to load that Mezzaluna brush up just like I would a stencil brush. And then I want to dry most of it off on a soft paper towel or something, okay? So get a little touch more. I feel like I wiped too much off. All right, now what I'm gonna do is come up here and with the side of the brush, so there's two flat sides and there's two corners. I'm gonna use the side of the corner and I'm just going to soft circular motion. See how my hand's moving? Soft circular motion. Okay. So, Henriette, no, the thing with these brushes, when they're brand new, trying to find the one I just set down, the bristles are long, but you know, as you use them and when you're using them dry on rough surfaces, they tend to wear down. And when they do, I just replace them. So, but little bit of white paint, soft circular motion, and I'm just building these little billowy clouds. You really don't even see these that much in the finished painting. But I wanted to add that interest in the background. So soft circular motions using the corner, flip the brush over, use the other side. And we're gonna do a cloud lesson soon too. I love painting clouds. Hello, Janet Henderson. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. All right. So you see those just subtle, soft clouds. Do I need to zoom in? You're so welcome, Henriette. When I look up and I see a question, but I'm trying not to look up. I get distracted easy. Squirrel, you know, it's one of those. I want to share, but I also want to look and see what you guys are asking. So I will have to do that later and answer you guys afterwards. So, okay. So see just that soft circular motion, get nice little clouds in there, loading it up, wiping it off, leaving space. You don't want to cover all of it white. If you cover up all the color, then you lose that definition of a cloud, all right? So don't plop a lot of white on there. Just very, very light, like a little dusting. Get a little bit heavier, fine. Soften it out with your finger. Leaving those pockets of dark and light and white. Oh, that's good to hear, Linda. I love my mat too. Good, Yvonne. Yes, I definitely want to do a cloud lesson. We're definitely going to do a cloud lesson in my membership group as well, on our journal pages, and go a little bit more in depth. But, alrighty. So we've got some clouds going on, right? So now, trees. So with this brush, let me show you what I do with this brush. I like to, instead of sticking in my water, I just take a little bit of hand sanitizer. I'll get that paint out just like I do a stencil brush. Okay, wipe that off, wipe that up, and I'll rinse my brush in water and dry it really nicely, and then get it back to, you know, its flat shape. All right. So I used a stencil on this piece. It is listed in the description, I think. Sometimes it doesn't always come through on the description of my live, but this is where I got this stencil, creativeartslifestyle.com. Patty Rawlinson, if you're not familiar with her, amazing, incredible, talented lady. She also has Studio R12 stencils, but loved this stencil, thought it was perfect for this, and I just wanted to do a star, probably about that size, I think is what I used up here. And I'm going to use my Stencil Pro brush. Again, load it up, wipe it off, almost all the paint off on a paper towel. And I'm just going to swirl this around. Molly Ann, if any of you are thinking about joining Sandy's private group, go for it. Best decision I've made along. Thank you, Molly Ann. I love my membership group. Very lucky. So I do have some exciting news coming up next Sunday when we do our live. But if you've thought about joining my membership group, I have to say, being a one-man operation, I have not changed the information on my website yet. You can still join my membership group today at the price that it is right now. But this week, that price is going to be taken down because it does go up. We just have a fantastic time. There's 40 plus lessons that you have access to. We primarily create in our art journal, but I also share and show how to take that outside your art journal to do different things. And if you need any other information, again, you can find that on my website and click on the membership link. Just look at it. And if you have any questions at all, just email me or message me from my website and let me know. Be happy to answer them. But we have a great time. In fact, we just did our word of the year. Do you guys pick a word of the year? So we just did our word of the year lesson, first one of the year. And let me get that off there and I'll zoom out just a little. So I designed this page and then taught it, created that with my group the other night. They all have different words. Some of them have the word balance, like my friend Anne. And so, you know, it's fun. We have fun. All right, enough about that, because you'll hear a lot about that coming up soon. So I'm just taking this stencil. There's like these tiny little stars and these little dots and whatnot. And I just kind of moved this around to see if some of those will show up. If I can't see them, then I don't have any paint on my brush. Again, you just want a nice little dusting. You don't want them that bright. Okay, these are just in the background. All right. So, and the other thing I'll say about my membership group is we paint 3 to 4 times a month, live with me, guest artist. And again, the 40 plus lessons in there, phenomenal. So we're going to get out a little bit of our mister color. Now, these are very, very liquidy fluid. So if you are afraid they're going to go everywhere, just take off the nozzle, dot it on your palette, whatever it is that you use for a palette. And I'm going to take some of this pink and do the same thing. And so I'm just kind of dabbing the end of that nozzle right there. Thank you so much, Linda. Alrighty. So now we are going to paint some trees. Now these trees in the background, let me show you the original piece. Super, super simple. But do you see in the background, they're very faint. They're just kind of misty and there. So don't think too much about them. Just dab your brush like I'm going to show you, and you can use a number 8 or a 3/8 angle, and I'm going to show you both ways. So I have a number 8 and a 3/8 angle. Okay, again, my Black Gold by Dynasty. And I'm going to take my brush, get it wet, tap it off. So this is a great project where you really don't need a pattern as far as a line drawing. There is a line drawing included in the packet. So if you feel like you need, to know exactly where your trees are going to go, there is a line drawing, but I'm going to show you how I place them and how I've taught this so many times without having to use that line drawing. Okay, so I'm going to take that number 8 flat brush. I got it wet, dried it off. I'm going to dip into a little bit of blue. So let's come over here on our palette. See how I lifted it up and it flew. Now, it's a pretty strong color, so I'm just going to work that into my brush, get some of that color off. Do you only use media paints in your... No, Cindy, I do all. I mean, I try really hard to show mostly regular acrylics because these are a little bit hard to get hold of. They have been anyway. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to just slide on the chisel edge. Okay, to get that not straight tree there. I like using the angle brush. I'm just going to show you both ways. All right, so we have that tree trunk, and then I'm going to take the corner of that brush, and I'm just going to tap it on both sides. So I'm going to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, right over that tree trunk to paint in this tree that you can barely see. Okay, now let me make that a little purple so that you can see that. All right, and we'll put one right in here. And again, just going to tap to the left, tap to the right, tap to the left, tap to the right. Hello, Monica. Again, I typically just take my brush when I'm done and brush it down there. And then use my fingers to swipe it away. Okay, let's get some of these pink trees in. So I know I have one here, and I'm just making them smaller, shorter, nothing too bright. If you put them on and they're too bright, guess what? Let them dry, and you can put a wash of gesso or a wash of white paint over them. So I'm on the corner of that brush, tapping to the left, tapping to the right, tapping to the left, tapping to the right. In fact, in my membership group, we do a lot of product information too. So I have the pleasure of working closely with education and product development with Decoart as a creative consultant. And so last month we did crackle mediums. The month before that we did heavy gel medium and glazing medium and a couple of things because I love to share and show how I use product. You might not know how to use it. You might have it and have never used it because you weren't sure, or you might use it a different way. And I love showing that too. Okay, that was with the number 8 flat. Now let's do this with an angle brush, which is my favorite way to make trees. So if you have this pattern from the very beginning, it just says number 8 flat. Well, since then, I have started painting my evergreen trees with an angle brush, and I love the look much better. All right, so over here, we're going to slide on that chisel edge. Now, when you slide on the chisel edge, think of it like you're ice skating. You're going at the same rate. If you lean, you're going to fall right on your katukas, right? If you lean this way, you're going to fall on your face. So we want to ice skate right on those bristles, meaning we're not putting pressure, we're not pushing. We are sliding, and our wrist and arm are moving at the same rate. So put in that stem. These are very faint. You're not going to see them for a while. And then I turn it on the toe. So if you're not familiar with an angle brush, you have a toe, which is that longer end, and the heel. So it's at an angle. I'm going to turn it so that the heel is facing the sky and the toe is down. And I'm going to tap lightly to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, right over that stem, and then just kind of smooth it out at the bottom. Okay, so let's hold that up just a little so that you can see. All right, now you can see that very straight line in the center. One reason a lot of times I don't like to put that all the way down. I'll put it on, maybe skip. And I did that on the evergreen lesson for that reason. So that you don't have a line straight down the middle. It looks like a part. Okay. Again, these are just our very faint evergreen trees in the background. You can make as many as you want, or as few as you want. Completely up to you. But again, on that toe, tap to the left, tap to the right, tap to the left, tap to the right, right over that stem. Another thing we're doing in my membership group is the beginning of every lesson, we do a drawing exercise. So we talk about shapes and how to see the shape of a flower, how to see the shape of a leaf. On our lesson we did the other day, we did banners, you know, like a, oh gosh, what am I thinking? It's like a dimensional banner. That's all I can think of. You know, one that goes like this. Do you guys call those any kind of special banner? But we'd practice those and how to draw those and just have a ton of fun. Okay, so I think my background trees, I'm happy with those. Again, I can't stress enough that if you want to tone this down at all, you can take your big flat brush. I'm just going to get it wet. You don't want to use white paint, this white paint. Let me say, you can use Americana, but you don't want to use the titanium white in the media line. I would either use Gesso or Americana for this part. That if it's a little on the bright side, again, work in some Gesso into your very wet brush, and you can tone that down. And I just feel like that could be toned down and pushed back just a little bit more. It's all about the layers in a landscape. Okay, so see how that just toned that down? We'll go ahead and give that a dry with our heat tool. Hi, Norma Jean. Birthday month girl. She's going to be 90 this month, guys. And let me just tell you, if I'm half as active and doing as much painting when I'm 90 as she does, I'll be one happy person. All right, so just give that a little touch test and see if it's dry. I was gonna say and suggest that on top of, if you don't have that stencil, but you have, you know, the little stencils, this is an M square, 42 and 54, I think are the snowflake. We also have these, which are the Prim Stars, Field of Stars, that you could use as well. I think that would be super pretty. And what else did I grab? Oh, this one's the Field of Stars, you know, and you could just use regular star stencil. Small little snowflake stencil would be pretty. Nothing too big, okay? We want to keep it with, where's the tree lesson? And it is here on my Sandy McTier Designs page. So I'm trying to think, if you go to videos, you should be able to find it there. Okay, so now that we've gotten this done, we kind of want to get our foreground and where things are going to go. So I'm going to grab my green, which is sap green. If you're using regular acrylics, I would recommend you use Plantation Pine, just because it's my favorite green in the Decoart line, has been since I've used Decoart. So I'm going to take this and wipe my palette, because the one thing, again, with those fluid acrylics, even though I need that for later, first off, it's going to dry quickly. Second off, it is going to go everywhere when I go to show you my palette. So let's go ahead and get that off. And I'm going to load my sap green. And we'll get some Payne's Gray, which is one of my favorite colors in the media line. I use it for just about everything. Cast shadows, separating things, making a color darker. I like it better than black. Look at my lovely manicure now. Anyway, so Payne's Gray, okay? And then my 3/8 angle brush is what I'm gonna use. Again, if you don't have an angle brush, you can use a flat brush. You just wanna use one corner. And we wanna decide where our trees are gonna go. So, looking at our original piece, zoom out just a bit. I have some trees that are in the background, some trees that are in the foreground. You know, these are shorter, these are a little bit longer and narrow, and then of course my taller one. This is closest to me, so it's going to be bigger, and I want it taller just to give it scale. What that does is it pushes everything else back. So hopefully your eye goes to that horizon line so that you get the depth. You get the depth of the trees that come forward until you get to one that looks like it's where you're standing looking at the snowman, okay? So let's move this. I could see it, but not get paint on it. Alrighty, so I'm gonna take my 3/8 angle brush and I'm gonna do this. A little bit of sap green, a little bit of Payne's gray. Either sap green or plantation pine, Payne's gray in both lines. Americana or in the media line. All right, so I want to decide where my trees are going to go. If you make your own spritzer paint with liquid paint, what is the ratio of paint to water? I would say at least 3-to-1, if not 4-to-1, Kathy. And they have these at the Dollar Tree. You get 2 in a pack for $1, although it might have gone up. And I would put your at least half of water, squeeze in some paint, shake it up, and then test it. The thing with acrylic paint, if you mix it down too much of a ratio, it loses its adhesion ability, all right? And so you wanna make sure that your paint's gonna stick. Get a little bit of water there. All right, so I'm gonna decide where my trees are gonna go. I know I have 3 over here and 3 over here. So I'm gonna start with my back one, and I'm gonna slide on that chisel edge. I'll zoom in when I get to painting them, and then I'm just gonna take my finger and soften that out because I don't want it to be apart right down the middle. The biggest thing with this, I have to say, if you're working on a surface that has 2 holes like this design, this surface does, you want your surface to be completely straight so that you don't have leaning trees of Pisa, all right? There are trees that lean. These trees, I don't want them to lean. So I'm going to make sure that my surface is straight and that my line is going straight down. Then I'm just going to soften it with my finger. That one came down a little too far. And then this one, I'm going to have it come right up into those trees that we painted in the background. And I'm going to have it come down right to about here. All right, so I've got my 3 lines for my my trees on that side. And then on this side, they're a little bit shorter. So I have one coming here. Again, I'm just gonna soften that. Pisa trees, right? I've made a few in my lifetime, so painting trees. And then a little bit over, we'll make that one a little bit longer. And then this one I have a little bit higher, over, and it comes down. So I'm just gonna kind of let this skip because I know it's gonna come all the way down to the bottom. Okay, just to get my placement. Again, the pattern packet comes with a line drawing. So if you needed to, you could print that off, line it up, make sure that those trees go exactly where you want them. I didn't do that. Okay, now let's zoom in. Like I said, I'm going to show you how I did these trees. I'm not going to go into as much depth or in-depth on how I painted them. I have that lesson here on my page that you can find after this, but let me grab a cardstock so that I can show you how all of them are going to be painted. Okay, so again, I'm using my angle brush. I'm going to put in basically my branch that goes right down, that trunk that goes right down the center of that tree. I'm on the toe of the brush. So the heel is facing the sky and it's little taps. Now, I'm going to the left and to the right and I'm tapping in the middle. and to the left and to the right, and tap it in the middle. And when you say it out loud, left, right, tap in the middle, your tree will be prettier. But I love that the way that angle brush gives the, like say this is a branch, look at that texture. I love that texture that you get from using the angle brush. So, and I don't worry too much about up here, but when I start getting down into these branches, I start thinking about the ends of them. So they might get like a Y or a V at the end of the branch. And again, I see tons of comments popping up. I'm going to look at questions later and answer any of those that you might need answered. And y'all, you know, you can always message me or email me. There's that contact button on my website as well if you have any questions at all. Okay, so I'm just worrying about the shape right now. So it's a little bit longer, short, down to your longer branches, right? I can pull this one forward. Oh, my tummy just growled. Pull these forward, almost like they're coming out towards you. Okay, now what I'm gonna do from here, I tend to do that, and then I'll take my brush and make green snow because you can put white on top of that. Okay, now that looks like a very naked tree in the middle. So what I like to do for my evergreen trees is to come back and in here where it would be fuller, tap on the toe of that brush to make this just a little bit fuller. And there's airiness out here, okay? So let's go right to our surface and we'll do those here. So again, I'm gonna get some sap green and Payne's gray. I'm not mixing it down to one color. I basically pick it up, mix, mix, and go from there. Can you put the media paint into a spritz bottle to make a spray? Would you add water to it? Yes, Luann, you can. Now, remember, these don't have the solids and the binders in them, so your ratio would probably, I would start with 1 to 1, and it might even need to be 2 to 1. 2 parts water, 1 part paint. But yes, you can definitely do that with these as well. Okay, so with these, I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to go right on that very tiny stroke there. And I'm just going to tap on that corner, picking up more paint. Tap to the left, to the right, in the middle, left, right, in the middle. And then I tend to just, again, make green snow. And that green snow is, it comes into play later. Okay, so a little green, little Payne's gray. And let me hold I don't have a lot of paint on my brush. All right, I have enough, but it's not dripping in paint. I want to be able to control what I put here. Now, let me come up to here because I feel like this is a little too thick. I'm just going to do a little smaller top to that tree. All right. So if you start too heavy-handed, you can always make it a little bit taller. Tiny little touches, just like there. Did it again. All right, and I've already seen that I need to add more Payne's gray to my brush because I really like how dark the color is on my original trees, on my original piece. And then just take your finger and kind of soften that out. Okay. Now watch, I'll end up making leaning trees of Pisa here because I said that earlier. So when you're mixing those colors, you're picking them up, I would say use more Payne's gray than sap green. We just want them to have this nice, rich, dark color underneath so that when we go to put the other colors and the snow on top, it really, really pops. So again, tap on the toe, tap, 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 tap. Come down, Come out as you start to lose that color, load up more paint. The thing with painting this, I love to layer. So layering your lights and your darks and getting that depth. If you don't have the dark, you're not going to see the light. Doesn't matter how much you put on. If you don't have that dark that's going to counterbalance it, and vice versa, then it just is flat. So this is going to give these trees depth, some fullness when we start to layer those other colors on, especially our snow. And see that one, I came out a little bit too far, so I'm just going to use my finger and get that back in line. And it's going to come down to about, I want to say probably about here. And I'm going to come forward because I want this tree to look like it's coming at you instead of everything going like this. If you make everything to the side, you're going to have a big part down the middle of your tree. Okay. And then again, I just kind of, first off, it's just to get the paint off my brush. But at the same time, you'll have a reflection of green in your snow because of your trees. So it just makes sense to me to use that paint to put it in there. And if I don't like it, if it's too much, I certainly don't want it to look like the dogs have been on that one tree the whole time. But, but at the same time, I do think that you'll see that natural reflection of green in the snow in the color. All right, so let's go up here. We have this little tree here. I'm just going to start tiny little dabs. Put that little tiny line. Okay, and again, just I'm rocking that brush back and forth on the toe. Try to see how far this one comes down to about here. I have a glare on this side of my surface, so I can barely see that side. I'm looking at my camera. All right, we'll bring a little bit of that down. Okay, and then again, thank you, Lucy. I like making the trees this way. I think it's fun. And they're easy, they're effortless. It's hard to make them wrong, except for, like I said, to put a part right down the middle. Green, Payne's gray. I'd say 2 parts Payne's gray, 1 part sap green probably. And then this one, actually I moved that one. I'm gonna paint it because that's where I put the thing. But on my original, it's a little bit over. So I'm just gonna move it a little. You know, and those in the background was faint, very, very light. So as we start to bring these trees in with a little bit more of this color, especially the trees that are coming closer to us, we want those to be, you know, a richer, deeper color than, say, the ones that are in the back. So I just added a little more Payne's gray to that. Bring that a little forward. And again, just kind of touch that edge. Bring out some of that green. All right. So, sap green, Payne's gray, and this for our big one here. Again, start at the top. Tiny little taps. I'm very methodical, and you know, I'm taking my time up here. When I start to get into where these are a little bit bigger, I do tend to maybe push just a little bit more on the toe of that brush, but up here where I'm trying to keep it nice and light and not too big, I'm very, very light touch on my brush, okay? And again, I like to do that left to right. I feel like your tree's a little more even when you do, instead of doing down one side, like I started to do there. It would not be good. Okay, added a little bit more Payne's gray so I can see it come right over that tree. Leave space between your branches, and don't worry about the space in between until we come back at the end. All right, so I know that these are going to go here. Okay, did you see what I just did there? Let me show you. So I'm on the toe. and then I went to the chisel and then back to the toe. Sometimes that happens, and I like the way it looks. So, but pretty much I am just on the toe of that brush. If you were working with the flat brush, like the number 8, you could flip corners and you would get your tree done a little bit quicker because you have both corners to tap on. I just like the look of the 3/8 angle. Okay. Now this tree is coming out a little bit further into the center, which is fine. Then on my original, again, I'm not using the pattern. You could use the pattern to know that that's exactly where you want your tree to go and to stop. But I'm not, I'm just painting it. Okay, now I do want these to come up just a little. Tap, 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 tap. Leave space in between. I'm getting a little heavy-handed there. I need to kind of lighten up on my pressure. I know that I want these to come forward. Come forward. Okay. So then once I get that, oh, I need to move up, don't I? Let's zoom out just a little because you didn't see any of that there at the bottom. Hello. That's where I need, the classroom for someone to go, you're off camera. So we have our little branches here, and then I'll just come back and along that main tree trunk, I'll just kind of dab in some color here and there. Thank you, Helen. Yes, I just realized that was right off the screen. So, okay, so a little there, a little there. All right, so there's the bottom of that tree. Okay, and I do like on this one, it has a little bit longer branch right here that kind of skirts right around there. But again, this is the great thing that I love about not using a pattern. I can, is exactly the same as my other one? No. But do my trees look similar? Yes. And it all works. Okay, so I'm just going to take that, have a little bit of more Payne's Gray in my brush. Just kind of ground those trees just a little into the snow. We'll have a little space for our snowman. All right, now what I'm going to do is rinse that brush out. All righty. Coming in late. Hello, Lori. Hi, Linda. Okay, so now I'm going to put a little bit of citron green. If you don't have that, you can use any light green color. Citron green, fresh foliage, margarita, matcha green. But if I'm using this color and I'm substituting, this usually is my go-to. I like the citron green and the Americana line. So, the thing with the fluid acrylics too, let me tell you, like that is enough for all of us. For all 125 of you online right now, you can use, I'd have enough for everybody. That's the thing is you don't use a lot of this paint. So yes, it is a little bit more expensive than the Americana. However, it goes a long way. All right, let's go to these trees right here. And I'm going to, with my yellow, let's go ahead and get my angle brush rinsed out. Typically, I leave it just with the paint in it, but with Payne's Gray in it, I don't want it to turn my trees to a weird color. Before we put other colors on here, what I do want to do is come in and define maybe where my horizon line is going to be. Okay, so like right at the base of these trees, get that little line going on. You're like, oh, it's so dark. I just added a little water so I can see it better. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit more. So we've got that on. Now let's go ahead and take care of our snow before we do the color on the trees. So I am going to use white. Again, I moved it, couldn't find it. My titanium white. Let's load that. And then number 12 flat. You can use a 12, a 10. You could even use a 3/4 for that matter, if you wanted to. Let me try and find my 12. Okay. So what I want to do now is I want to add snow into our landscape, but I don't want to add so much that it covers up all the pretty color we have. And the reason I didn't do this before I put the trees on, anytime I've painted it, is because this helps my movement, and I know where there are going to be shadows and stuff for trees. So it's just my method. Again, I have my number 12 flat, and I'm just pulling some paint, working that out on both sides, not super, super wet. I'm going to take a paper towel, swipe it across my paper towel. Hello, Lee. Good to see you here. Okay, so with my brush, I'm going to turn it so that the flat is down and one flat is up, and my index finger is on my brush. Very little paint, and I'm just going to do a little shimmy side to side. So it's like a little scrub. I can get right into that tree. Flip it over, use the other side. But do you see I'm leaving space in between? I'm leaving that space in between so that you get those pockets of dark and that pocket of pink and purple and blue. And so very little paint. And I'm going to skip my trees as best I can. Okay, again, a little bit more paint. I'm just going to swipe my paper towel. Oh, my tummy is rumbling. I don't know why. It's not hungry. All righty. There we go. It is hungry, actually. It's growling at me. Okay. So, oops, see, I didn't wipe off my brush. Picked up a little too much there. But I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm scrubbing that on the back of that. Not super hard. I don't want to ruin the brush. I'm just letting that brush make that texture for me. You could also use the Mezzaluna brush if you wanted to. Okay, you certainly could do that. So I'm just going to pick up a little more, come right into under these trees, right up into those trees. You don't want to just stop because there's a branch. Better to go on top of the branch and repaint the branch than to just stop, because you'll definitely see a stop mark. Okay, and do you see that I'm going left to right? I want this to shift left to right. You could put in, I could put in a little path, give it a little direction with some heavier white if I wanted to go back there. What time is it where you are? It's 7:30 Monday morning in Brisbane. Yvonne, it is 4:26, so 4:30 on Sunday. I have to say, if one hard thing in my group is we do have people from all over the world, so I always feel very guilty doing it at a time that's convenient for the States, but I have to do what's convenient. But I try and switch it up too, where we have some afternoon and some morning lessons so that it's not always at a time that's not convenient. Okay, so do you see just that little scrub of white and all those colors underneath? Very simple, not a lot more to it. And that green where I skim that white right over it now just looks like it's a shadow, right? Okay, so a little more, we'll do some over here. This is a great way too, that if you need to take away some of your space, like maybe you made your tree too big, you can. It's 11:30 in the Netherlands. Wow. let me tell you, I loved living overseas. I met and married my husband in Japan 32 years ago this year. Lived in Okinawa, Japan for 6 years. Lived in Iceland for 2 years, which was amazing. Lived in England for 6 years. And just, I miss traveling. Okay, so we'll get some more white. Now the thing is, if you start slow and you add more as you need it, which I did, I'll add more. But initially, just to get that skim of snow in there, it's easier to start with just a little bit of paint and adjust and fix as you need to, then a whole bunch of paint, and then you're repainting your whole background. Okay, it's 10:30, not 11:30. Oh, I read that wrong. 10:30 in the Netherlands. Thank you, Henriette. In Germany too, yes. My parents lived in Germany, so we would take the channel. I would just throw my 3 boys in the car and we would drive over to Germany and visit my parents and go to Austria and Italy and Belgium and France and Luxembourg. And so very, very, very fortunate. If you did not know, my husband's retired military, flew for the Air Force for 22 years, and I'm also a Marine Corps brat. My dad was a Marine for 31 years. Okay, now I did take away a little bit of that tree there, and I can put it back in. But do you see how just that one layer to begin with really kind of softened that whole look, gave us a snowy little meadow here. And now I'm just going to come back with a little bit more white and make just a few places a little bit brighter. A little bit whiter, a little bit brighter. Just like this. Oh, Robin, bless you. Bless you, bless you for driving with a teenager. Did you say your granddaughter's practicing driving? All righty. So again, just a little bit heavier snow. I don't want to make it too white. You know, the thing with white things, they're really not white. They are tinted and enhanced by what is around it. So since my horizon line is here, I need to somehow get in a skim of that snow behind a couple of those trees. Okay. A little bit over here. A little bit over there. All righty. Thank you. All right, so now let's come back to the 3/8 angle. And I'm going to load it up with Payne's Gray, some Sap Green, and I do want to come back. I don't know why, but when I restart to do it, I kind of have to find my middle again like I just did there, and then I will tap out my tree trunks. My tree branches. Hello, from my tree trunk. Okay, just kind of fix that back up, make that tree a little bit more shapely. I just find it much easier to do this than doing all white in the background and then having to, because when you do it this way, you get those automatic little shadows. That doesn't mean that you can't pop them in later, you know, or if you paint your whole snowy meadow first and then pop those shadows in. I just like the organic look of this and how they automatically happen. Okay, I don't want to go out too far or put too much into these because we are going to have snow on our trees. All right, that one's looking a little leaning. Let's balance it out over here and swoop those up just a little. So I'm swooping these up just a little so that it doesn't look like it's leaning. Okay. So wonderful. I can't wait to be able to travel again. I know, Ellie, I so miss traveling. Like I said, in 2020, I had 22 trips, and I ended up taking 3 of them, and that was it. And I miss it. I love, love, love to travel. In fact, this time in 2020 and years before that, I was always on my way to Phoenix for the big, huge Craft and Hobby Association show, and to Germany for Creative World. And sadly, not there this year. Okay, so let's zoom out just a touch so that you can see all the trees. Now we know, right? We know as painters that when you look at something up close, it looks like a hot mess most times, right? You have to step back from it, step away from it. When we're really close, like you're gonna see my hair, because if I'm here, guess what I see? Other than you guys see in the top of my head, you see everything that looks wrong. It's not wrong. Hold it back and see if you feel like something needs to be changed or tweaked. But when you are right up on it, we think it looks like a hot mess, because it kind of does. But when you pull it back out, like when I zoomed out, did you not just think, wow, look how, you know, spacious and bright and full those trees are, right? Okay. So, oh, that's awesome, Brenda. Thank you. Yes, I love the way that snow works. Now, we can come in and wash a couple other colors on our snow, but see how sketchy it is? So my trick to bring it all together is I'm going to come in with my 3/4 flat brush, a little bit of white paint, and I'm going to pick up just a little bit of white. Okay, my brush is very wet. You see it on my palette there? It's quite wet. And then I'm just going to softly bring that over my snow. And I use my hands when I paint. If you don't like to, you can wear gloves, but I can't stand to wear gloves. In fact, when I paint in person, I'm usually like, okay, I'm checking hands at the door. If you don't have paint on your hands, you got to sit back down. Because to me, this, you know, we're playing, we have fun. All right, so there's my snow for right now. It needs a little color, right? So in the directions in my e-packet, I put Doxine purple. I have the blue and the pink that are going to make purple. So you can also use some cobalt teal hue, which is an amazing color in the media line. Again, if you don't have that, Laguna, Peacock Teal, Bahama Blue. And I'm going to take that 3/4 flat, and I'm going to pick up just a little, swipe it across my paper towel, and I'm just going to do similar to how we did with the snow. I'm just going to pop in some of this here and there. And if this isn't the order I did it, like if you're following along with my e-packet, that I jump around. So I am a firm believer that if something's aggravating you, my trees were aggravating me. So guess what? I moved on to the snow. So I highly recommend you do that. You could use the gesso. Yes, Norma Jean, you could use the gesso to kind of bring everything together. Yes, absolutely. All right, now I'm going to get a little bit of that blue again from my mister and a little bit of pink. Just a little dot, a little dab will do ya on your palette there. So a little pink, a little bit of that blue. I'm just going to work that in. Now this is very highly pigmented. If I go with that right now to my piece, look how dark it's going to be. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of wipe it off, add a little bit more water to my brush. And I'm just going to, oop, too much water. I'm going to do a little wash of purple here and there. We're also going to do this on the trees later. But it's just going to bring in some of that purple color back on top of that snow, just here and there. All right, now I just looked at my screen. See my snow in between? See how there's nothing in between? That's a problem. So I'm going to take my number 8 flat, fingers were the first paintbrush. Yes, they were. Miss Carol, how are you doing, my friend? They're the best 10 blenders you have, I have to say. I tend not to use a mop because that's faster than me picking up another brush. Okay, so I need to bring in some snow in between my trees here. Just a little, not much, but certainly don't want to make it look like it just stops. And also bring it in this way. Right from the edge. And then a little bit of that pink, a little bit of that blue. You can pull it from the edge. Look at that. Okay, so just pulling it right from the edge, very little paint, and then just swipe it on. Again, giving that really pretty look. Let's zoom in. Alrighty. With that pink and that purple. And what that does is it ties it into your sky. If my sky is very pink and purple, guess where it's going to reflect? It's going to reflect on that snow. And so use that. Use that in your foreground here where you'd see it a little bit more. Alrighty. Now let's move on from here and go to our next colors on our trees. So I'm going to zoom in, try and get just this side. There we go. All right, and then back to my 3/4. Norma Jean, yes, you could put the snow on before you do the trees. I like to torture myself and do it the hard way, although I like the way this looks. So that's why I did it that way. All right. And looking at my screen here too, I see. So right where this snow meets the horizon, I did put a little bit of purple and blue there because I didn't want it to be so drastically different. You would have that glow right there instead of it being super bright white. So I am going to add a little bit more and just have that transition a little bit better. There we go. All right, now to our trees. We've got sap green, green gold, and white. All right. So on my, what's that brush? My 3/8 angle. I'm going to do some sap green and some green gold on the toe of that brush. So look, sap green, green gold. Tap, tap. That's it. Now, what I want to do when I do this part is I want to tap just like I did before, but I'm not going to cover the whole tree. Okay? So I will come in and just tap and move. Tap and move. Now what's going to happen, let's hold it up closer so you can see. Do you see that brighter green in there? So it looks like, you know, oh, pretty. Love that color, that green gold. So you just have a little bit of a, like a shine on that branch. So when we go to put in, again, this color, I'm not trying to hit everything. I'm not going, that's a branch. I need to put that there. I'm very random. Tap it on, but don't tap it on so many places that it loses its effect. And it can if you have too much, because now all of a sudden you have a very light colored tree, and we want that dark, rich tree to show off our snow better, right? So again, a little bit of sap green, little green gold on the toe of the brush, not so much back here, so quick, easy, tap it on. Same here. In fact, I lost my top to my tree there. Oops. Let's rinse that out. Because this is very thin, I got green right there. I'm just gonna scooch that around, take some of that off, come back, and let's do that again. Lightly tapping. Okay, much better. So again, that green gold, tap, 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 tap. And you can even put some of that into your snow. All right, let's come over here, do the same thing. See if I can make sure I get the bottom of that tree. Again, green, sap green, green gold on the toe of the brush. We'll start here. We're just going to tap. Tap, 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 tap. Looks better when you say it. Tap, 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 tap. Okay, a little bit of that snow and just wipe it off with your finger. Sap green. And the reason I'm using the sap green and the green gold together is to kind of help blend that color just a little bit so that it's not so bright. Starting on my bigger tree here, I'm going to start down here because my brush has paint. It's a little bit heavier. Come down here, and then I'll work that up just a little bit. Okay. So a little bit there, a little bit there. And then again, just tapping it, both sides, skipping around. Not every single branch needs it. I see there's a problem there I need to fix. So I'm just going to pick up sap green and Payne's gray. See how it just ends? It's like a straight line. So I'm going to come in. I'm going to give it a little bit of a V. Just like that. And that was with the sap green and Payne's gray. Same thing here, just kind of got lost. Oops, still got that green gold coming out, which I like, it's pretty. Like I said, my #1 rule is if you like it, leave it. If you don't, figure out a way to fix it. There's always a way to fix it. Okay, so there is our bigger tree. Let me rinse out my brush. Wipe it off. Oh, Brenda, I don't know that I'm a pro, but I make tons of mistakes. Let me say that. That tree trunk, see how it sticks out like a sore thumb compared to the others? That's why I'm careful about not putting a tree trunk all the way down. Let it kind of skip and skip and stutter so that you don't end up with a part or heavy branch right down the middle. All right, and just to cover that up, I will just bring a little bit heavier color to break up some of that branch. But the snow probably is what's going to do it. Okay, so let's move on to the white. We're going to go over here. Okay, you have to get your hubby's food ready, Lucy. Well, I hope you guys have a great dinner. All righty. So now I'm going to pick up, again, some more white. Only on my the toe of my angle brush. White only. Kind of work that into the toe. The other thing with the fluid acrylics, let me tell you, they're very highly pigmented and they're a little bit thinner. Well, they're a lot bit thinner than your regular Americanas because they don't have the solids in them that regular acrylics do. So if my brush is very wet and I go to use it, this is already fluid. The water's going to make it even more fluid. So I did dry my brush off, picked up some white, worked it into the toe. But I want you to see that I don't have a lot of heavy paint on it. All right. And I'm going to concentrate on the snow hitting the tree, but not covering the tree. So again, starting up here, I'm going to do my little starter tree trunk. And just like I did that light green, and I'm going to keep going until I have no more white paint. Pick up some. Oops, if I get too much, dab it with your finger, just like I did there. Okay, and so again, I'm just working it into the toe of that brush, trying not to cover up all of my tree. If you cover all the green and the Payne's gray and the sap green and that green gold, you'll have no depth. Your tree will just look flat. Okay. So when doing like a branch that I can see comes out heavier on the top, maybe not so heavy on the bottom. Okay, so we're just putting some snow on there. Again, the angle brush. I did not put glitter on this, but I did pull some glitter to show you that if you wanted to add some glamour dust glitter, oh, it'd be so pretty. Okay, again, on the toe of that angle brush, just tap, 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 tap. And you'll probably see that this is a bit brighter white than that. That's fine. I can always come back up here and adjust, but I tend just to go with what I have on my brush, keep going, come back and adjust. Again, load it up. I just swiped it across my paper towel to get that heavier paint off. And just tap, 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 tap. And if you have some Payne's Gray or green gold or any color that's still wet, that's quite all right. It's just going to look really pretty when you mix that with your, when it mixes with the snow color, which is white. So, oops, wrong corner. And I did have, you know, my tree thing, some concerned viewers, like it's going to mess up my brush. I'm not pushing so hard. I'm just delicately tapping on the toe of that brush. Okay, and then I like to just to take what I have left on my brush, or if I need a little bit more, I can pick up some white and just tap that around. Okay, so let's do that for these trees, and it goes pretty quickly. Bye, Henriette. Thank you for being here. Yeah, it'll be recorded, or it is recording, so you'll be able to watch it. And I'm hoping to get it on my YouTube channel by tomorrow morning. So, okay. And again, those in the back, I try not to give too much time or too much attention to. They're back there. I want these to show up more. So again, just tap on that snow. Try not to think about it or overthink it. Just tap it on, tap it on. A little bit of snow at the bottom. Alrighty. So I'm pretty happy with that. I will show you a way to separate these that are together because we want them to stand out and be separated. Okay, let's come over here to these two. And again, hello, Faye. Happy New Year. Tap off that brush. Okay, so basically you're repainting the tree, and I'm trying not to look at all the branches and have to go on them. I'm just moving my brush in the same movement, fashion, manner, because I'm going to hit the snow where I need to hit the snow. Instead of, like I said, instead of slowing down going, ooh, I need a little snow on top of there. I need to see how that's very uniform and two pattern. I like it to be less of a pattern and more of just that natural falling of snow. Some branches get more snow. That sounds very cozy, Jessica, by that wood stove. I bet it's quite cold up there where you're at. Alrighty, again, so let's get the snow on there. A little bit at the base. And this is probably like the, oh gosh, maybe the 8th time that I've painted this piece. And if I put them all side by side, similar but different. And that's the great thing about painting. I always say when I'm teaching, even if it does not look like mine, if you love it, leave it. Because you just put yourself into that piece. All right, it does not have to look exactly like mine. My thing is to share and show you the technique of how I painted it. And if you're like, oh my gosh, I love painting trees, but I never did it with an angle brush, great. Try it with an angle brush. Or, you know, even putting the snow on, like we put the snow on after putting the trees on. Or adding in those ghost-looking shadow trees in the background. So I love taking pieces and parts of different things that I see or that I like or that I've learned, and incorporating that into what I do. That's how you kind of get your own style, is don't be afraid to put a little bit of yourself in it. Okay, so a little bit more white, and I'm starting to feel, let me show you my brush. I'm starting to feel like my brush is getting a little, maybe too full with paint and then dry, so I like to rinse it out. And my way of flattening my brush, whether an angle brush or a flat brush, is I like to run my fingers, the bristles right through my index finger and my middle finger to get that shape back in place and start fresh. Okay, don't sit there and, you know, be fighting with that brush. Just rinse it out, start fresh. Okay, and I don't want to go overboard. I want to really try and keep the snow on these closer to me. I want to keep that snow pretty much close to the top of that branch, which I can't see over here. I have such a glare. I can't see hardly anything on this side. So I'm just winging it. Bye, Sue. Have a great week. Hopefully I'll see you Thursday in the membership group. All right, so a little bit more white. Again, don't be afraid to tap. I'll show you how to separate and where those trees meet. And then also just to give a little bit of coloring to our snow on our trees, we're going to add a little bit of pink and blue. That purple color will be nice on some of these snowy bits. My fix, if I put too much snow or if I've covered up too much of the dark, is just to backtrack. Backtrack with the color I used before. And in this case, it would be sap green and a little green gold. So tap, 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 tap. Okay. Pick up a little bit more white. I don't know, it got really heavy there. Tap, tap, tap. Have never done a tree this way. Oh, that's good, Carol. Well, hopefully you will give it a go and see how it works for you. Again, I love, love, love. I've used a fan brush too. A fan brush works great. You know, kind of like the Bob Ross on the corner, similar to how I'm using the angle brush. I just like that. Sometimes you get a point, sometimes you get a flat, and sometimes it hangs down and gives you that natural look of an evergreen tree. Okay, a little bit more on there, a little bit more here. All righty. So let's zoom out because, of course, up close, everything's looking kind of, ooh, way close. I really zoomed out, didn't it? Okay, so let's pull that down. So not as much snow over here. It really snowed on this side of the landscape. So I just need to adjust it a little. And I'm just going to put a little bit more snow. On those. All right. Okay, I'm loving those. So what I want to do now is I'm going to rinse that brush out. I'm going to pick up, I rinsed it off, dried it off, and on the toe of the brush, I'm going to pick up the tiniest touch of Payne's Gray. And I'm just going to work that into my brush. So see how I'm moving away from that heavier color? I just want to, on the whole brush, I'm just working in that Payne's Gray. Soft black will work great. Americana Payne's Gray will work great. But what I want to do is give a little bit of a shadow to these trees. Need a little bit more. So imagine your sun, your light is coming from this direction, hitting that left side So a little bit of a shadow here. Get a little bit more, little shadow there. And then here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to touch it right at the tree branch that's kind of coming off, and add a little swipe of that Payne's Gray. Use your finger to soften it if you need to with that brush. Okay, just to get a little shadow, little shading in. Those trees right there look like they end on the same. That one really should come down further, but I'm gonna leave it. I just like when they end differently. So, you know, make one come down a little bit further than the other. Put a little shadow. All right, so we've got our shadows in. Now I took my 3/4 brush and a little bit of my turquoise mister and the pink primary magenta, or you can use the Dioxine purple, all right, if you have that. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of that on the toe of that brush, make a little bit of a purple color. Just kind of tap that on my paper towel. All right, let's zoom in right here. Okay, so I want to make one side of the tree a little bit more shaded than the other, and that's where I came in and just lightly brushed in some of that pink and blue to make it a little bit more purple over here. I don't even know if you can see that. Let me hold up on the dry one. Okay, can you see that purple tint right here on that centered and then a little to the right? Sometimes it comes to the left, like maybe on the bottom there, right here, and then on the right. So a little bit of that purple mixture, and I need some more pink. I am going to do it a little bit heavy-handed so that you can see the color. Oh, you're so welcome, Linda. Enjoy that snow. And I forgot, Anita, you were the first person to comment when I opened up my thing. So please message me and let me know what e-packet you would like. All right. So again, just going to wash a little bit of that purple. I think you can see it. Not sure if you can see it or not, but I don't want it everywhere. I just would like a little bit on that snow to the right. Maybe on the bottom of some of these on the left. Again, just give it a little bit of a shadow. But we don't want to take away all of our pretty white snow like I did right there. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Yes, I can't remember where I taught this. I taught one at OKC with these trees, and then also a snowman, but the snowman had a little snow kitten or a snow dog with it. And I'm just coming back with some white. I just felt like I got a little heavy-handed there with the purple. Again, you backtrack. Okay, so again, just a little wash of that blue and pink mixed to make a purple. And this is where I would come in on that right side here. Again, soften it with your finger, leaving, and it'll separate that tree. If you don't have enough of a definition though, a little bit of that Payne's Gray, and just work that in. Where'd my color go? Right between the two so that you can separate them. Okay, so see how those two now got some separation going on. All right, first time to watch you. Love your relaxed style. Thank you so much, Nancy. I appreciate that. Needs a snow bunny with it. Ooh, might have to do a bunny. All right, so let's zoom in. I'm going to zoom out first to show you our trees and our background, hopefully not too far. Okay, so we've got our little Winter Wonderland going on, right? Shading a little bit of that Payne's Gray in between to separate if you need to. Some white. And then I always come back at the very end and evaluate my lights and my darks. And I can already see that like this one needs a little bit more white, bright snow. Okay, so you can always come back and add it, all right? Here is aggravating me. So I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna come up in here with some purple. Get a little bit of a shadow. I'm gonna come back in with my, I'm looking at my original to see if I have, and I want to put in another little branch right there, like it's coming toward me. There we go. I'm gonna leave it. And we'll put some white on it, and all will be right in our forest of trees, because it needs to be balanced. And that was just looking like it ended. Alrighty. Well, thanks for being here, Sherry Aiken. I appreciate it. And I will be back next Sunday with a new lesson, a new design, I should say too. Got to get it finished and written. But it is more spring. Alrighty. Now let's put our snowman on here. Our snowman's so easy. Let me zoom in real quick, and we're gonna put him right about here. Okay, and I'm actually gonna pull my, I stand when I paint. I don't know about y'all, but I am gonna sit for this. And let me give you a little tip on your snowmen. Okay, you can do perfect circles. All right, so I could use, like I have a stencil that's a circle. This is my M square stencil with Tracy Moreau. I could use that and be perfectly circular snowman. But we know that when you stick a midsection on a bottom section and a top section on a midsection that's on a bottom section, they're not circular anymore, right? I want you to think of a snowman a little bit more like a marshmallow. So I'm gonna get a flat brush. Let's get, I don't know, like a 4. And I'm gonna mix some, and like I said, don't know if this is what I did in my directions. I think this is what I did. But Payne's gray, a little bit of white, and I want to make gray. I'm going to make my snowman gray before I make him white. Okay, so again, I want to make sure that my piece is straight across, up and down, so that my snowman isn't faltered, you know, like leaning, faltering. I can't think of the word. So I'm going to put this probably about here, and I'm going to make a flat top. So like a parenthesis, and a flat bottom. Now the bottom could be a little bit more round, but make that top part a little bit flatter so that you get more of a marshmallow look. Does that make sense? Hopefully it makes sense. All right, then pick that up, and I'm gonna do the midsection, which is smaller, but again, parenthesis, fill it in. That needs to be a bigger bottom. And then the head, parenthesis, parenthesis, and the top can be a little bit more round. Okay, and that top being more round gives the illusion that these are round, but that marshmallow shape base for your snowman just looks better than it being a round circle on top of a round circle on top of a round circle. Okay, now I'm going to rinse that out and dry that off. And I can already see that my my snow in my sky, my color in my sky, I wish was a little softer. And I am going to show you that before we finish, because I do remember that from the classes I taught. Okay, so now our snowman, we're going to, let me move my cord before I trip on it. We're going to shade him and highlight him. So what I want to do first is come in, and I don't know if I used a mezzaluna or a flat brush, but I'm going to use my flat brush with some white on one corner only, and I'm just going to work that in. Okay, I'm going to work that in. Let's touch that. It's dry. And I'm going to start on the left side, and I'm just doing like a C, a small C stroke, and then working my way a little bit to the right. Small C stroke, working my way to the right. Again, on that flat brush. Yes, Jessica, my heat tool has started making this little sound. I don't know what is up with it, but thankfully I have them in stock, so if I needed to, I could always grab a new one. Okay, a little bit of white on that one corner only, and again, think of it like you're drawing a C. And then you're just going to bring that C right over, kind of walking it over slightly to make your snowman have a little bit more white without being totally white, because of course white isn't always just white. It's got all the colors around it that are reflecting on it. So I do this in a couple of layers. That's my first layer. Let me go ahead and dry there. Now I'm going to go to my 1/4 inch angle brush. So I can be a little bit more methodical about where I want the paint to go. So we used the 3/8 earlier. This is a 1/4 inch, just a little bit smaller. I'm going to get it wet. Come over here on the toe of the brush, pick up a little bit of white, work that in. And if it migrates over a little, that's quite all right. But now I'm going to get that floated color right to that edge and bring it over to the right. Okay, and then dry it. So see how he's coming together? Thank you, Wendy. Your last name is my maiden name. Okay, I think I've told you that before actually, now that I say that. And anytime you use the heat tool, you want to touch your piece, make sure it's not super hot. If it's hot, it's going to grab that paint and it's going to stay. So I need to fix my bright there. Okay, now on this side, I'm going to pick up a little bit of my pink and blue mixed together to make purple. So a little bit of my primary magenta, or you can use Doxine purple. You could even use Doxine purple in the media line. All right, but since I have those two colors in my sky, I like to, oh my goodness, Christina, that's so good to hear that you've not had the interruptions you normally do. I like to use the same color, like that purple in my sky and background trees, because it just adds a harmony to your piece. You know, it just, instead of pulling out a different color. Okay, so I have a little purple. And now I'm going to do a backward C. Now, if you have a hard time doing a backward C, just turn your piece. Just turn your piece and do your backward C, or C stroke, right there. Okay. Now, I went a little too far, which isn't surprising, but I'm going to leave that, dry it. And this is where your small mezzaluna comes in. Now, if you don't have a small mezzaluna, you can use any kind of a stiff brush. You can even use a flat brush with no moisture in it, no water whatsoever. So like this is a number 5 flat. You could use a 4 flat, completely bone dry. Load it up with white. And then take a paper towel, dry it off. And you, oops, still a little too much paint. And you can dry brush that white on. And so I'm doing kind of the C stroke that I did before, but then getting a little bit in the middle, slightly turning it to the right. But I do like the Mezzaluna for this because I like the look of a sketchy dry brush. I don't know about y'all. If you don't, it might not be the thing you want to put on. You can just use a flat, like I showed you there, okay? But again, loading up that Mezzaluna, wiping it off, dry brushing. I don't want to take away that shadow, but I do want to go from the left to the center, slightly over toward the right. Pick up a little more. And don't forget, guys, to comment, like, and share. I will post the winners for the drawing, the giveaways that I have, which I think are pretty fabulous, on Wednesday here on my page. And hopefully by Wednesday, I will have up what we're going to be doing next Sunday. Marilyn, no doubt you love that sketchy look, and I love your look. I love that painterly, sketchy. It's just so pretty. So I hope you know that. Have a great style about your painting. Okay, so we're getting some shadow and some shading, and I'm going to leave it. Pick up my angle brush again. Pick up on the toe just a touch of Payne's Gray. And let me show you how I'm going to walk this out. So I started here, and then I just started walking away. Okay, because it's thinner here. Remember, these fluid acrylics are highly, highly pigmented. So little color goes a long way. So I want to put a little bit of a shadow underneath each section. Not sure if that's going to show up very well, so I might need a little bit more paint. There we go. All right, then a liner brush, and I'm going to use my 10-aught liner, very thin, with Payne's Gray. And my Snowman could not be easier. He has a lot of purple on him. I just looked down, I'm like, I have a purple Snowman. So I am going to do a little bit brighter white, dry brushing on him. Skim that over to the right, just a little, not too much. There we go. Okay, so I have Payne's Gray on my liner brush, and he's going to get a little eye, and a carrot nose. Okay, just very, very, it's like a little C stroke, and then just tap, 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 tap. And wow, that did not go very well. Little C stroke, little carrot. There we go. Like my friend Tracy says, now we're cooking with gas. Little buttons. So just tap in there, little buttons. And then for the arms, it's just a little parenthesis. If you had too much Diet Coke or coffee, great, because it's going to give you some nice little twig branch arms right in there. If you want to give him a scarf, you could. I did not. I am going to make his eyes a little bit happier, not so sad. And then his little mouth. And just little coal. There's nothing really special or, you know, hard about him. Okay, and I do see along his head, he needs a little bit brighter highlight of white. If I do it right now, I'm going to get into the black, so I'm going to leave it. But what he does need is he needs a little shadow. So we're going to pick up some of that purple. Again, I'm just going to get out some of that. Little touch of purple. Little touch of Payne's Gray. Swipe it off. And right up underneath him, from about halfway over, he needs a little bit of a shadow. Okay, and that's a little too purple. Thank you, Robin. Are you guys getting storms up there today? I know that my son's in that neck of the woods. We're supposed to. Okay, you could even do, I did not do this on my original, but if you wanted to, you could even do a little, ooh, there's a little gnat. You could do like a little cast shadow. Right for that arm. How fun is that? I might even do one there. Little cast shadow. Yay, there we go. All right, so that is our snowman. I'm gonna back out just a little. Look how cute. Okay, so do you see how I said my sky is a little too bright for me? So I am gonna take some gesso. Oh goodness, Robin, well stay safe. And my, ooh, do I not have that one here? I don't. The encaustic 1-inch oval, also known as Tracy Moreau's Fugly brush, but this is a 1/2-inch oval. I'm just gonna get that wet, pick up a little bit of gesso. That's the problem with me having workstations on both sides of my studio. This is where I do all my lives, and then I have a separate little place where I paint my designs and everything. So I'm just going to do a little bit better wash of that white right over that sky color. Just feel like it's a little too bright. See how that toned that down compared to how it was? I love that. It makes it misty, ethereal, just dreamy, dreamy, dreamy. Okay. And then the last thing is splatter. I like to add splatter with a flat brush. So I'm going to get, well, it's kind of a big brush. This is a number 12 flat, but I'm going to go ahead and use that very, very wet. So my brush is straight from my water basin right into my white. See how inky that is? I'll show you two different ways. And then I want to take the handle of this brush over the handle of this brush. And I want to tap. And I want to add some snow, mostly up here where you can see it. I really didn't bring a lot down here. I think I have maybe just a little bit at the base of the tree there. And then definitely over those. But handle of the brush, handle of the brush. That's one way. The other is to use your encaustic brush, load it up, and kind of the old style of fly speckling. You can flick that bristle, and it gives you a finer, mistier look of splatter. Now, if it's too heavy, one of my go-to methods of toning down splatter is to take a dry paper towel, lay it in place, and lightly tap it. And that will give you a stained look instead of a heavy splatter look. Like that. Okay, and I can still see that my snow could use it with a little bit more white. And so guys, like I said, there were 3 giveaways. Shared those with you at the beginning of the class. And all you have to do is like, comment, share with your friends. If you share to a group, please make sure that you're allowed to share it to that group. I don't want anyone to get their hands smacked. And certainly don't want to encroach on someone's space that they don't want things shared. So, and I just am going to add a 4th giveaway, and that's for this piece. So I will continue to play around with it and tweak it, make it prettier. And so my demo piece will go out to somebody. And like I said, I will put everybody's name in random generator and post those winners on Wednesday here on my page. And then next week, I will be back with another free lesson. It'll be a new design. The pattern packet will be up on my website. I'll announce when it is because it's not written yet. In fact, the project's not 100% finished. And then same time, same bat channel, right here. Let's zoom out just a little. I love it when my when my demo piece looks similar to my original, because I have to tell you, it's not always that way. If I have to paint something exactly the same way, let me just tell you, it never, ever works out that way. So one thing I did not do on my original, but I wanted to share and show you guys, is that if you like glitter, you can add some glitter. So let's come to, I wouldn't add it everywhere because it'll lose its effect. Is the in and out giving you guys motion sickness? Okay, so like this tree here, I would pick, you know, maybe not this one, it's a little too big, but you can take matte medium, which I have somewhere. Let's find it, it's right there. And do you guys want to see a snow cat or a snow dog? I know I mentioned that, or both. Okay, so I can come in with my matte medium. Thank you guys so much. And I'm just going to pick that up on my brush. Tap, 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 tap. Snow cat, snow dog. What's the verdict? Let me know. And I'll just tap that matte medium, just like I was painting the white on that tree. Sprinkle it with some glamour dust. Oh, love, love, love. Thank you guys. Snow bunny. You did say that, Marilyn, didn't you? Okay, snow dog. All right, so let's tap that off. Make everything shake, but look how pretty that is. What a sweet little touch. That glitter, that glamour dust. Oh, so iridescent, so pretty. All right, let's, real quick, let's do, should we varnish before glitter? Yes, Kathy, good point. I would varnish before I glittered. So your cat or dog, how about if we do it on a card? What is that? Or should I just do it on here? Okay, so I'm gonna do a little Payne's gray, a little bit of white. Payne's gray, white. Let's zoom in just a little bit more. Just a little. There we go. Okay, so my cat, I have it on the back of one of these. Let's do my snow dog. So same like you did the snowman. You just do Payne's gray, a little bit of white, and then a rabbit with a carrot. Now y'all are pushing it. I'm joking. And let's do a little bunny rabbit right down here. Too funny. As my husband said, how long do you think you'll be today? He goes, I always add an hour to what you tell me. Don't we feel sometimes that as painters we can do something in no time? Okay, so little, and the bunny I might make a little bit bigger. Body. Okay, it's all in the details too with them. I'll zoom in when I start doing those. Okay, so bunny ear, bunny ear. Those are some big old bunny ears. And then our cat has ears, and our dog is going to, I should change brushes, being lazy, have these little floppy ears. Okay, so we got a little, we have a little animal menagerie going on, like Denise just said. Let's zoom in just a little. this is just winging it, guys. If I if I had this as part of the design, it probably would be a little more symmetrical, but that's okay. Alrighty. So I do need to, my cat got a little wonky cheek there. All right, I'm going to use my rigger. So this is a 2 rigger, and we'll start getting some details on there after a little bit of color. So we need some white on the angle brush, a little bit of white. A little bit of white on our cat, a little bit of white on our dog. There we go. Wasn't really sticking over here. Okay, and then on our bunny, alrighty, so how are we looking there? We're getting there. Little doggy, our little cat, and our bunny. Okay, I'm concentrating so much I'm not talking, sorry. Alrighty, now let's take our rigger and we will get a little bit of Payne's Gray, and we're gonna do a little cattail, right? And then we need little cat feet right there. Our dog feet are going to go like this, and then it might have a little tail, and then our bunny has a little tail right there. Okay, and then let's start giving a little bit of detail. So we have our cat ears, got a cat eye, cat eye. Oops, I need a smaller brush. So I just switched to a 10-aught liner. And then got a dog eyes, a dog nose, little. Okay, and then for our bunny, little eyes, little nose, has whiskers as well, right? A bunny has whiskers. And then our little cottontail, I'm just gonna pick up on that same brush, a little bit of white, tap on our little cottontail, do our little bunny ears, a little bit brighter white, leaving that shadow in. And we might need a little bunny feet right up here. This is what I love about painting. It just, you know, just go for it. If my bunny looks like a rabied, sick bunny, I can always fix it, right? Always, always fixable. Okay. And then a little highlight on our cattail. And then a little highlight on our ears for our dog. So I did this Christmas show for, oh my gosh, so many years with my friend Nicole, and we would paint anything. So if somebody wanted a Harley Davidson on their ornament, we painted a Harley Davidson. Blue's Clues, you name it. Thomas the Tank Engine. So you kind of Like, we got in the habit of just making it work. Pulling up photos. I don't have a picture of a cat, a dog, or a bunny rabbit, but those are looking kind of cute, right? Highlight those whiskers. Maybe highlight our dog nose. And we'll just go for it. Okay. Okay, let's zoom out. That looks like my dog Taffy from when I was a kid. Okay, so we have our dog, we have our cat, we have our bunny. You guys are too cute. Thanks for thinking of something I could paint on there besides a dog and a cat. They need a little shadow, right? So let's put a little shadow in. A little shadow of our bunny. A shadow of our snowman there. And I could come back and dry brush and make those a little bit brighter, but I think you guys get the gist of those little guys, right? So let's zoom out. Got a little Winter Wonderland with our added animals, added glitter. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Yes, always paint on me. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks so much for being here. I will go back and look at any questions I missed. Sorry, I couldn't look up and answer all of them, but I definitely will answer them. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and I will post the winners for the drawings on Wednesday. And I will be back next Wednesday with a Sundays in the Studio with Sandy lesson, a new one. Spring design, and cannot wait to paint with you guys again. Have a fantastic week. And if you've not thought of a word this year, think of a word this year that you can kind of carry throughout the year with you. Mine is balance. I really want to work on my balance in so many areas of my life. And that word just kind of jumped at me. So, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later this month when I share some exciting news with you guys. So anyway, have a great day. Have a great week. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting me, and have a fantastic new year. All right. Y'all have a great day. Bye.